Welcome to Sit, Stay, Read, the podcast for every wag, whinny, and whisker. I'm Kathleen Donnelly, award-winning author and retired K-9 handler. Each week, I chat with novelists about the bond we share with our furry friends and how they inspire stories. Grab a coffee, get cozy with your favorite pet. It's time to sit, stay, read. Well, today I am thrilled to welcome international best-selling author Nikki Lee Taylor to the show. She just recently released Wildling Road. It is a wonderful, wonderful canine mystery full of intrigue set in a beautiful country of Australia. And Nikki, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I've been excited to chat with you. I love the setting of Wildling Road. And I'll admit, I'm of the era in America where The Man from Snowy River came out when I was a kid. And so I think of the Snowy River Mountains. I assume this is set roughly in the same area. Is that right?
Similar. So the Man from Snowy River was actually set in the Victorian high country. This one,
Okay.
it's a fictional setting. But because I'm in New South Wales, the high country that I visited in my life is the New South Wales high country. So
Okay.
Osco National Park. So for me, it's probably more based on that. But it is a range that it's a continuous range. So it's very
Okay.
similar.
Okay, that makes sense. Sort of like the Rocky Mountains here. I realized reading your book, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to learn so much more about Australia. It's such a beautiful and fascinating country, and I've always wanted to go, but you took me there. It was really nice. You took me there in your book. So,
Yeah,
uh,
some people. I've had some comments from some people that didn't even realize it snowed in Australia.
I did know
Oh God.
that. I did know that. But yeah, it's this wonderful rugged wilderness, and you said it. You kick it off right away with intrigue and murder. Give us a little storyline behind Wildling Road and Mia Thomas and her K-9 Koda.
So the book is really, as you have said, set in the Australian high country and an alpine national park. And so it starts off with Mia and Koda. Koda's a chocolate border collie. Called in to search for a missing teenage girl, Lily Daniels. I don't think it's a spoiler to say they find her body. It's pretty much in the first chapter. And so I guess the finding her body is pretty much ruled a misadventure from the get-go, but Mia has a feeling that there's something more to it, and so she starts quietly investigating on her own, which I should
Yes.
say is a big no for the real volunteer K-9 Search and Rescue Unit book, so she can do that. And as she starts to search for answers, she comes up against a town. It's a small town with a really strong patriarchal society. That's kind of another theme in the book. So as she starts to try and find the truth, she comes up against the town's patriarchy, which includes the town's most powerful farmer, Jack Stanton. So if you can imagine Clint Eastwood, that's how I see him in my mind.
Okay.
A local corrupt cop who's a mate of Jack, and then even Mia's own brother and fiance. They're working on a separate project to set up the first ever geothermal drilling rig in the national park. So they need Jack's support. So the more Mia sort of looks into it, the more everyone turns against her. And as the book progresses, she has to come up against that patriarchy and her own insecurities and kind of find her own self-strength and trust in Koda to find out what really happened.
I love that. And you portrayed the bond between Handler and K-9, Mia and Koda, so beautifully. I just love that. Tell us a little more about Koda. He's one of my favorite four-legged characters out there right now.
Oh. As much as I love all the elements of writing, the plot and the twist and the themes and symbolism and all the things that go into writing, when I set out to do this, that relationship between Mia and Koda was really the most important thing that I wanted to make sure I got right. The idea for me was sort of it'd been maybe 18 months. I had to say goodbye to my two golden retrievers. They were 17 years old at the time, Max and Sam. I really wanted to write something that was sort of dedicated to them in a way to reflect the relationship that I had with them and the relationship I have with my dog now, Saxon. I've had him for 2 years. So I really wanted to draw on the love that I had for my own dogs and show that in Mia and Koda. So Koda is also based on a dog that I know, actually, a dog called Maple. So my dog Saxon and I, we do a lot of scent work trialing and obedience and all kinds of competitions. And I met a girl called Rachel. She has a dog called Maple. So I drew on Maple a lot for Koda. I've never had a border collie, but Maple is a TV actor, and actually she's been in a couple of movies, and I thought that's a great example of how Koda should be. So it's sort of Koda's a mix of my dogs and Maple, and definitely my relationship that I've had with my dogs.
Oh, I love that. What movies has Maple been in? Any
So Maple was in Anyone But You with Glenn Powell from Maverick.
Oh, cool. Oh, very cool.
And he's on almost every TV ad in Australia that has a dog in it.
I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh. So we have, well, that's so cool. I think that's so much fun. And you did a beautiful job portraying that relationship. And it was so important because Mia had to find a strength throughout that made me one of her, or she became one of my, sorry, I can't talk right now, one of my favorite characters out there because she's really strong and really resilient.
Yeah, Mia, poor Mia, I really threw her in it. I think, excuse me, because I wrote this with a view to being a series. And so the idea was I really wanted her to have a strong character arc across the series. So I felt like I had to give her a lot to come up against from the get-go in order for her to grow across the series. And so she does have a lot of trials and tribulations to face. And I guess like me too, you know, without your dog, like, I mean, Saxon is such a source of strength for me when I get into that. I mean, certainly not out in the wilderness, but uncharted territory, even emotionally, that I really rely on him. And I wanted to reflect that in Mia and Koda as well.
And you did a beautiful job of it. And I also liked how you showed, I think we'll get into it a little bit because I don't think it's too much of a spoiler, but the resilience behind growing up after being sexually abused and what women go through, what some of the hardships we all face. So was that difficult to write? Because it seemed very important to write, but was it difficult as well?
It is difficult. I mean, I don't share Mia's exact experience. I did have a sexual assault experience as an older teenager. I was 19. And it wasn't, I mean, it wasn't anyone close to me in the way it was with Mia. But I do recall, I feel like I do recall having a lot of feeling that it was my own fault, that I shouldn't have put myself in that situation in order for that to happen. And I think I carried sort of that blame of you're so stupid, why did you let that happen to yourself, for almost my whole life. And I feel like it's only been, you know, in the last probably 5 or 10 years that I've thought, well, hold on. I don't think that's true. The narrative that I've been telling myself, I don't think that's true anymore. And I really wanted to, by far not the only person that has experienced this. And I feel like there's a high chance a lot of women carry that sense of self-blame with them. And I wanted to at least reflect it, you know, Mia could overcome that. And I think we all can eventually. It just takes time.
Yeah, I thought that was such a brave thing to write because it's so realistic. We blame ourselves. You know, it's like you said, it's our fault. We shouldn't have been there, whatever the situation. But what I loved is I think your book will give women, girls, whoever, an ability to say, oh, maybe I should start speaking out because Mia finally does. She breaks her silence. And that's
Yeah. Very difficult. I mean, I didn't. I kind of feel like I should have at some point held somebody accountable, but as I said, by the time I sort of found a place in my mind where I didn't feel like it was all my fault, so long had gone by. That was a person I didn't really know and would never be able to find. So I just had to let it go. But I guess I found some redemption in me. holding people accountable, I guess, for myself as well.
Definitely. Yeah, and you showed how Koda, how animals can help us heal and move forward as
Oh,
well. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure Saxon and your golden retrievers were the same for you. So that
yeah.
helps a lot. The other part I loved with your book is the history of the land and the people and who I feel like we have that in the United States too. Who owns this land really? Whose history is here? So how much research did you do? And it sounds like there was some personal ties for you too, based on the author's note.
Yeah, I only probably in the last, I think maybe 5 years, I found out that I had in my own sort of First Nations heritage. I would by no means, say I have any lived experience, and I would never try and write that.
Yeah.
I did have a few hiccups with the book, to be honest. In the first instance, I had written Mia as having a First Nations father and her paternal grandmother Mimi as a First Nations character. And I felt like that was really important. I really wanted to do that sort of to honor what I'd found out about my own history and to embrace the culture of Australia, which, is obviously my home. But without real, I just set out naively and wrote what I wanted to write. But when in the first instance, the publisher was fine with it, but then sort of came back and said, "Oh, we need to have all these approvals from different First Nations mobs, and
Okay.
we need to do a whole bunch of things." And I kind of said, "I can't do that. It's a fictional mob. It's not based on any real mob." And then we had to try and get the Snowy Monaro mob, which is fictionally where the book is sort of represents, and they didn't want to do it. And then she said, "Well, you need to have your own mob, give permission." And I said, "I don't have a mob. I've only just found out." And so it just became so complicated. I actually had to rewrite the whole book. And so
Oh my
um,
gosh.
yeah, it was very frustrating. Like, we were right about to publish, and then I had to take another year and rewrite the whole thing. And
Oh
so
my gosh.
I wanted to keep Mimi's. I think she's a really important character because she
Mhm.
reflects those questions you just said, like, who are the custodians of the land? Who does it belong to? Who should have a say over its future? And I wanted her to have that really strong connection, and that was really important to me. And so I had to rewrite her as more of sort of a mystical person that shared that custodian role in her mind, but wasn't actually a First Nations person. And so I've tried to keep some of the references throughout the book without having an actual First Nations character. And it was really frustrating to
Okay.
me because I'd said so many times, like, I'm not trying to represent a lived experience. I'm not trying to represent any, controversial history or culture. I would never do that. I don't have that experience. But it was very difficult. But I feel like I've managed to keep enough to reflect the culture and to ask those
Yeah.
questions about the land.
Oh, definitely. As a reader coming in not knowing any of that until now. Uh, I love Mimi. I loved her history, her beliefs, everything about her
Yeah.
and Mia and so it was I don't know, I feel like it was very well done. You made me want to learn more history. Like I said, I'm ready to
Oh,
go visit Australia and learn more.
great. Love that.
Yeah, yeah. So, but that's wow, that takes some perseverance to rewrite the book. Holy cow.
It's very disappointing. 'Cause, like, it was really disappointing because I really did it from a personal place of, wanting to reflect the things that I thought were important, and then was sort of told, no, you can't do that. And so I was kind of, without being controversial, like, I kind of felt like this is my country, this is my history and culture as well.
Yeah.
Not this nation's person, but just the different fabrics of the culture in Australia. And it was I just for it was kind of like, when you work through your plot points and you have the all is lost moment. That was me.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah, wow. Well, and then you have some other really good characters throughout this book. I love Brit. I don't know that I love Bryce, but he was a good antagonist. He's a good. He's one of those characters you love to hate that
Yeah.
maybe you're not rooting for. But also Juniper, and Juniper's fun. That's how we kind of connected. You reached out. I have a canine Juniper, and you have a human Juniper in your book. Tell us about her, because I found her to be a very fascinating character.
Really? Um,
Yeah,
oh, that's interesting.
yeah.
I guess I came up with her background because I had spent so long as a journalist myself. That was my first sort of career path. And I felt like it was something that I knew. I kind of could put myself in her shoes in terms of, wanting to find a story and also not wanting to upset anyone while writing that story. I had a lot of experiences where I wanted to be a good journo, but I would also be very mindful all of the time because I was a journalist for some smaller papers, not big metro headlines, and so there are very tight knit communities that take their local paper very seriously, and so and you see those people in the supermarket every day, and so like the town I first started being a journalist had 3,000 people, similar to Wildling, and when I first started out, I didn't have much idea what I was doing, and so they would hold you accountable literally in the supermarket at the checkout. They would be like, "You spelled my name wrong. You didn't get that right." And so I guess I could understand her reluctance at wanting to pursue people that she knew and people who had been almost part of her family and hold them accountable, but while also wanting to be a good journalist and do the right thing and save her career. And so I guess there's quite a bit of me in Juniper from my own past career experience.
I love that. And maybe that's why I liked her a lot too. I have a journalism degree. I didn't do much with it. I did a little bit, but maybe as journalists we all can feel the conflict she was going through with.
Yeah, I mean, in a small town, it's a big responsibility.
It is. And like you said, people let you know.
Oh, they
They
do.
let
I got
they let
shouted at many times in the street.
oh no. Oh my gosh, that's tough. I mean, I think it's harder to write in a small town than it is a big city, honestly.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, in a big paper like we have here, the Daily Telegraph, it's a big Sydney paper. Like you're very shielded. No one really knows who you are, and no one can come and knock on the door of your office and yell at you because you're 10 floors. But yeah, in this small town of Scone where I first started, like we just had a shop front on the main street. Anyone could just walk in and hold you accountable to your face. It's not the same. No shielding there.
Definitely not. Definitely not. And Juniper's sister Britt, I think I liked her a lot too. She's rough. She's going through those teenage years. She's trying to find herself. She's been the younger sister. Where did she come from? What was her inspiration?
Um, I mean, I think we've all been a rebellious teenage girl.
Yeah.
I wouldn't so much. I mean, all the characters are a part of the author, I suppose, in a way. She's probably the lesser one, but I really just wanted to create, I guess, a different character. So I wanted the three main female characters to be very different in personality, and I sort of had Juniper, who is someone who is used to being liked and wants to please, and it comes in quite confident in who she is. Whereas me is the opposite. She is on, that sort of path of self-discovery. She's very
Yeah.
insecure. She doesn't know. She's not sure. Um, so I felt like the other option for the next character is someone who just didn't, I say didn't give a shit. Sorry. Just
Oh, you
doesn't
can say
care.
that. Don't worry about it.
Is just rebellious and does what she pleases and doesn't care what anyone thinks. So I felt like it was a good opportunity to have that next sort of juxtaposition of personality.
Yeah. Yeah, and yet she plays such a big role in figuring out Lily's, who did this, who was behind this, and helping Mia. And yeah, so yeah, she was a lot of fun. And then there's Bryce. We'll talk a little bit about him. He was one of those guys growing up that every girl is in love
Yeah.
with and thinks they want to be with, but then we discover there's another side to him.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's a lot of the people I've dated. Oh, he's great. No, he's not. No, he's not. Um, yeah, like I feel like he was quite relatable for I mean, most of my readers are women. There are some members, probably 90% women readers. And so I think we can all recall, somebody you thought was the best guy in the world, only to find out he was awful. So I felt like that was kind of a relatable character for people who have dated their own Bryce.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very relatable. So I think I think there's other questions I want to ask, but I don't want to give spoilers. So I'll
Yeah.
leave it everything there. We'll leave it with the characters and readers. I loved that you are coming out with another book soon in the series, right? Is it releasing in June? Is that right?
Yeah. So I've got, well, yes, I'm running a tiny bit behind, but I feel like I'm
Okay.
going to make it. I have got about 20,000 words left, and then
Oh,
of course
nice.
do the fixing. Um, yeah, it's been harder than I thought, to be honest. I got really excited at the idea of this being, a series. Yeah, it's more difficult than I thought it would be easier, but
Yes.
harder to I guess, like, working through it, just remembering. I mean, I know who the characters are, obviously. Um, Mia and Juniper return in it, and
Oh,
just
good.
remembering, like, their tone of voice and the specific words that they use. Well, I'm
Yeah.
trying to write just out of my mind and remember everything they did and said in book one is it's trickier than I thought. Do
It
you
is
find that?
hard. Yeah, I do. I do. It is hard. It's like you go back and you're like, wait a minute. Is this really what my character would do in this
Yeah.
situation?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
continuation of authenticity. I was like, hang on, I'm trying to flick back through the other one. Did they say that word? Is that a word they use? And then I just feel like time is ticking, people. Like, we better get through it. Yeah, so it's taking a bit longer, but I'm planning on not rewriting this one, so we should be right.
Yes, yes, that'll help. And yeah, I think I've actually gone back once in a while and reread some of the earlier books just to like, oh, I have to remember what and I have them sitting there. And I'm with you. You're like, oh, I don't have time to read this right now, but I have to. So
Yeah, and then I kind of feel like I don't want to. I feel like a lot of the people, they love coded. I've had a lot of feedback that readers are loving like coded searching and the descriptions of the landscape and things like
yeah,
that. But at the time, I don't want it to be the same. And so
right.
I've kind of found it tricky to include all the things that the readers have liked without making it too repetitive from book one with the searching and things like that. And so
Yeah.
that's a bit of a challenge. You
That
probably
is
have the
a
same.
challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well, and also, I mean, dog work is dog work. There's just some, things with it that doesn't change. So yeah, finding a different way to describe it or something like that is hard.
Yeah.
So I
But
have
I'm
to say one
hopeful.
of the things that I've enjoyed though is the wildlife you add in. I actually Googled some of the birds because I didn't
Oh,
know
yeah.
them. Yeah. Or just some of the kangaroos. I know what those are obviously, but it was so fun to think about little baby kangaroos and I don't know. I I get
Yeah, it's
excited.
the Australia. That's the only thing about the Australian high country. There's not a whole lot of native animals up, obviously, at those elevations.
Yeah.
And so I actually wanted to put more in, but it would have become unrealistic. I wanted to keep it as realistic as possible, but yeah, there's not a whole lot just because of the extreme landscape and in the snow. And as you'd know, there's not a whole lot of. I mean, we don't have the same kinds of animals as you do. There are. I have recently found out there are some dingoes that live in the lower elevations. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But there's no real, like, I can't sort of add in any exciting, predators chasing them like, cougars or anything like that you might have in the US. We don't have that. But I did want to put in the birds and try and make it as Australian feeling as possible.
Oh, you did a great job. I mean, the gum trees, I mean, the setting, it's just fun. Like I said, I've always wanted to go and I felt like I was able to visit at least for now in your book. So
Oh,
that's been
lovely.
fun. Yeah, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So tell us a little bit more about the scent work you do with Saxon. That sounds like a lot of
Oh,
fun.
it is a lot of fun. And so we started going to obedience, just community obedience school when he was what was he, 6 months old, I think. And really just for his own safety, I wanted to make sure he would be safe if he was ever off lead. And I didn't really have any plans of doing anything more than that. And he was so terrible.
Oh
He did
no.
that on his back legs like a wheel stand. And so we started getting, death stares from the other dog mums in the class. And so we had to, we didn't get kicked out, but I knew that we had to leave the class. And so I kept training him at home from what I'd learned on YouTube and all the things. And so I thought, what can we do that, is going to be stimulating for him? Clearly we can't go to school right now. And a couple of the people I met in the class, I noticed they've been talking about scent work and things like that. And so, I got on Facebook and I was like, hi, remember me? I'm the dog that, does the whole thing on his back legs. Can you tell me about the scent work? Because it seemed like it was the only sport or thing you could do where the dog has to be segregated from all the other dogs, right? It has to be on its own. Or that seems a lot less disruptive. Yeah. And so I started teaching him myself. Just I don't know how you're supposed to do it, but my way of doing it was I just put I didn't want to start with a food reward. I wanted to start where I thought we should finish. So I ordered, it was so our novice scent is birch. And so there's a place you can buy a little glass jar of cotton tips soaked in birch. And I just started putting them in a folded up toilet roll, not with just the cardboard bit, folding up the ends and just holding it behind my back and, saying search reward, just like tiny little bits at a time.
Yeah.
And making it a bit further out and I noticed immediately that he was a gun. He was amazing. He's a Cocker Spaniel, he's a gun dog, so he's supposed to be able to search and retrieve. He was incredible and he learned so quickly, and I kind of thought, oh, this might be something. And so I went to a couple of proper classes because I was just winging it with no idea what I was doing. And we got a trainer for maybe, 4 or 5 classes. It's quite expensive. It's like $50 a class. And so I had to.
Wow.
Yeah, it's expensive for like half an hour. And so I learned a lot as quickly as I could. But to be honest, he didn't really need it. He just naturally knew what to do. And so we kept progressing. And so we've got about 3 state titles now.
Nice.
Yeah, he's doing so good. And we're actually we started learning, they call it man trailing, which is actually what Koda does. So out in the bush searching for human scent. Okay. Started doing that in a national forest, which dogs are allowed in the national forest. They're not allowed in the national park. So we're adding that to our skill set, which I thought would be really, really great for me too. I mean, I had a lot of Zoom calls and sort of background information from national search and rescue organizations that, are Mia and Koda in real life, but I haven't actually done it in real life. Ours is more of a sort of a confined competition setting, but I'm really looking forward to sort of doing it in real life. I think it will help, the book and my descriptions of the searches even more.
Oh, definitely. As a retired K-9 handler, I loved your descriptions and the dog work. You nailed it. You nailed it. And so it didn't surprise me. Yeah. When I read you had done this work, I was like, okay, yeah, you can tell when someone's had that partnership with dogs and also when they've done a little bit of work with them. It makes a difference in the writing. So
yeah. Oh, I think there's a lot of, I purposely tried to not make it too technical because, if you're not an active participant in that, it can get boring very quickly with too much.
Yes.
So I've just tried to make it realistic without bogging down on all the technicalities of it.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. And that's why I was excited to chat with you today and have you on the show because it was fantastic. It's definitely one of the best K-9 books I've read in a while.
Wow.
So
coming from you, that's the best compliment I've ever had.
Oh yeah, no. It's fantastic. It's up there with Margaret Mitsushima and her books and all those. Yeah, definitely. So now that you're gonna hopefully have many more readers after the show airs, how do they connect with you? How do they find you?
So I have a website, NikkiLeeTaylor.com. That has pretty much the links to everything else, all the other platforms. I have Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And of course, the books are on Amazon. I have paperback, ebook, and audiobook. My first time doing an audiobook with a narrator was fun.
Cool. And I think Amazon, is Amazon the only place in the US they're being sold right now? Do you know, or
For
are they
ebook, yes.
for
The
ebook?
paperback
Okay.
is much across all
Oh, perfect.
platforms, but
Perfect.
the ebook is Amazon only. Yeah.
Great. And for Australian listeners, I assume it's being sold wide over there as well.
Okay. Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Fantastic. Well, I highly recommend this book, Wildling Road. Nikki Lee Taylor, thank you so much for coming on the show. It has been so much fun chatting with you.
Thank you so much.
And until next time, keep your tails wagging and pages turning. Thanks for joining me today. Sit, Stay, Read is a part of the Authors on the Air Global Network. If you enjoyed today's author interview, be sure to leave a review and share the episode with a fellow animal-loving reader. If you're curious about the world of working dogs and wilderness adventures, please check out my books at KathleenDonnelly.com. Until next time, curl up with your best furry friend and sit, stay, read.